Okay, hi everyone. Just a quick message from me rather than send a lengthy email to you. I thought it'd be worth a quick update on where we are before you get into the discussions on pre-book or pre-orders for 2020. We've had quite a lot of serious discussions with the brands. We know and they know that the current model for pre-booking and pre-ordering for next year doesn't work in the best interest of both parties at the moment. The challenge that we have is trying to find an alternative that works for everyone. On one hand, you have the brands who really need you to pre-book and forecast what you're going to need for next season for delivery early on so that they can book factory time with their manufacturers in the Far East, etc, etc. And from your point of view, you don't want to over-order because you don't know how bad it's going to be this season through the winter in respect of weather or sales, and it's difficult to forecast how good that's going to be. But at the same time, you want some new product guaranteed so that your customer can come in and see the latest products that are available in store. So we're having those discussions, and what I'd like to do is run through a couple of things that you can do for us in order to help us to get the best deal for you going forward with the brands. So what you can do this year is prepare as much as you can in advance for your pre-book meetings. That would be take EPOS reports, look at your stats, analyse them, and then use that as a bargaining tool with your ASMs when you're in store. Now, what do you need to do with the EPOS stats? Well, there's kind of critical pieces of information that you will need. You need to take a range of dates. For example, there's no point looking at where you were up until yesterday. So look at the season as a whole. Maybe take March till October from your pre-book from last year to the end of the season. See what your sales were, what you bought in, how much you sold at full price, what your margin is, and how much stock you had in stock at the end of the season. Alternatively, you could do 1st of January to 31st of December. That might help you to have a better look across the year. Then use that in discussions with the brands. Most brands will say, well, you know, you did this with us last year, could you up that by 10%? Now, let me talk you through that. That's not the best way to look at it. We're working in a very flat market, and although the on-course market is taking the lion's share of that market share, it's not always the best way to look and expect growth to come. The reality is, over the last 5 years in the industry, across all outlets, the amount of units that we're selling is actually dropping. So the reality is that we're selling less product, but we're actually maintaining a higher retail price and a higher margin from it. So a rule of thumb for me would be, if you're going to look at your pre-book versus last year, use 80% of last year's as a guideline. Then if you get through the season you sell it all, then hallelujah, you've sold it all at full price. If you don't, then you shouldn't have too much stock left, and that'll keep you pretty clear. Okay, so prepare well and make sure that you take that to the brands and see if they can come to some sort of arrangement and understanding. The next point is to make sure that you're satisfied with what you've pre-booked. The brands will always talk about, you know, pre-book levels and different levels of discount. But if you don't have the market to be able to sell those products through at full price, then what you'll do is you'll trade up and buy extra product for an extra 5% and then have to sell it at 40% off at the end of the season or 50% off at the end of the season to move it on. So be aware of that when you're pre-booking, and make sure that you don't fall into the trap of just ordering it because it's perceived to be a good deal. It's only a good deal if you can sell it through and the money goes in your pocket. Also, be satisfied at the end of the meeting that what you have ordered is written down and verified by both you and the ASM. Make sure that you see a written document on what your pre-book order is, when it's due, and make sure that they don't fail to deliver on that. Follow up on it. Make sure that between now and next March, or whatever your agreed delivery time is, make sure that you continually speak to the ASM to make sure that there's no problems in terms of delivery, production times, cresting, logoing, whatever, to make sure that everything comes in on time as agreed when you need it. Because the reality is, in terms of apparel and footwear, if it doesn't come in when you want it to come in, it comes in 6 weeks later, you've lost those sales. You'll never get those back through the season, and you may need to make some sort of adjustment for that. And finally, the big thing that you must be in these meetings is always in control. Yes isn't always the right answer. What you really want to be doing is making sure that you make the ASM work really hard for your order. Don't be pushed into a pre-book that you don't need. but make sure that you only say yes when you feel it's right for you. If you feel uncomfortable with the volumes or the discount levels, then don't say yes. Put it off and just order what you need, whether that be half of the pre-book order or a quarter of it. You take what you need and what's right for your business. By doing this, what we will then see is a feedback from the SMs back to the brands. We'll be able to sit with the brands and emphasise to them that we all need to change the way that we do business going forward. So I hope that helps you. It's a very short message. If you do need any other information, contact our retail consultants or call us here at head office and we'll do whatever we can to help. Thanks a lot and I hope to see you all soon.